Have you ever been using your Linux system and then got bugged by that pesky little wallet pop-up? Whether it be gnome-keyring on GNOME or anything else that might happen to use it, Kwallet on KDE, or any of the others that might happen to exist. Well, you're certainly not the only person. How do I disable this KDE wallet pop-up? Every time I open Spotify or Entei Authenticator, I'm not aware of what that is, it asks me to set up a password, how to disable this for good. This is a problem that every single Linux desktop has, and a big part of the problem is every single one of them does a horrible job at 1, explaining its function, and 2, making it as inconvenient as possible to interact with. This is something which should be silently set up in the background, should be tied to your user account password unless you choose to change it to something else, and shouldn't ever be something you have to interact with. But you do. And it's annoying, and it leads to posts like this one, and various other ones that I've seen in the past, and I've even made a video in the past on how to disable this. With all of that being the case, the first response most people have is, why is this prompt here? I don't know what this prompt is doing. I don't want the prompt to be here. Make it go away. And in this thread, Nate Graham, otherwise known as Pointy Stick, who you might know for various things happening in KDE, like This Week in KDE, and been on my podcast a number of times, and very frequently involved in the bug tracker and issue tracker and all this good stuff, he said, don't disable it, just create the wallet it's asking you to create and move on with life. Blowfish is fine, reuse your user account's password for it. In the near future, this will go away. That got me very interested. What do you mean this is gonna go away? And thankfully, he included some blog post links. Firstly though, what do these wallets actually do? gnome-keyring, Kwallet, any of these others? Well, they are a way to safely store keys and passwords on your system. For instance, your SSH keys, or the key to access the password store in your browser, things like that. And going to that first blog post, towards a transition from Kwallet to secretservice. Historically, passwords and credentials in all of our apps and services, such as Kio and our network manager Plasmoid, are stored and managed by our Kwallet subsystem and API. In a similar way, GNOME had gnome-keyring, and other similar systems were available. A major problem was the mutually incompatible interface between them, making it impossible to have a single place where all the passwords go. Now, for someone who is just running a single desktop, that's not that big of a deal. But if you are switching between desktops, or maybe you're using different window managers, which some supported gnome-keyring, others supported Kwallet, it became a big mess. For this reason, a standard DBus interface called secretservice has been developed, and systems like Kwallet, gnome-keyring, and KeePassXC have adopted the interface as well. In the future, we want to eventually port our applications to use the secretservice API directly, preferably via the Qt keychain library. Some applications already do this, which will use secretservice natively on Linux, and as a bonus, the Windows and Android native systems on those platforms as well. So KDE applications, if you don't know, do actually often have Windows ports, and by using Qt keychain directly, if you're on Linux, it uses secretservice. If you're on Windows, it uses the Windows thing. If you're on macOS, it uses the macOS thing. Android thing, so on and so forth. There is a reason Qt is a really popular choice to go with, mainly because it supports everything that you want to write applications for, and it abstracts away a lot of the complicated stuff that you don't want to have to think about. As of the writing of this back in April of 2025, right now Kwallet has the option to bring up a secretservice compatible interface, and this is a valuable first step. But there are still some potential problems in the migration path. Applications using secretservice will store their secret data in different places when running in different environments, including our own that have been migrated. If you log into a different session, every app will have forgotten its credentials. It's possible to use a different secret service provider also in a Plasma session, for instance, enabling in KeyPass XC. At that point, some apps will save into it, while others will keep using Kwallet with a different storage backend because the migration had not been fully done yet. Applications ported from Kwallet to Secret Service will lose their credentials unless some clunky porting code is written for each application. So what was done at the time is basically a refactor. It had now been split into two different services, one that exposes only Secret Service API, and one that exposes only the Kwallet API, and similar things were done over in the GNOME space as well. This decouples our Kwallet compatibility layer for existing or old applications, not only KDE applications, also third-party ones like Chromium use it, with our actual secret storage and secret service implementation, allowing a separate development roadmap and even potential future transition to a different backend in a completely transparent way to the user. So what this meant for users and developers. For users, in the immediate future, pretty much nothing. Users will still have all of their secrets accessible, and every app they use that was using Kwallet will keep working without forgetting anything. And then for developers, then there was a API you could interact with, and for the most part, it just worked pretty much exactly the same way it always did. Following this, we have an additional post in July of 2025. Kwallet, the secret service, a client application, name wanted. Another pain point is the application used to look inside the wallet's Kwallet manager only speaks the Kwallet API, and it looks a bit dated nowadays. I am working on a new application which the goal is strictly to be a client for Secret Service. It can access passwords of any Secret Service provider, being Kwallet, gnome-keyring, KeyPass XC, 007, or whatever else, and should hopefully look a bit more modern and simple while still being powerful. This is a video of it running, and if you've ever seen a GUI for one of these wallet or keyring tools, it's gonna look pretty similar. But again, like was being said here, this isn't about Kwallet or gnome-keyring. This is a shared API being used by everyone. Also, it does have styling for use on mobile as well. So if you're one of those Plasma mobile people, you can also do that if you really want to. Now, being something that's relatively new, it may not be packaged everywhere. I do know that you can obviously get it from the repo, or it is packaged on some distros like Arch Linux, for example, in the Keep Secret package. And personally, this is just me, I prefer the KDE design over what you get with GNOME design, so I actually prefer this quite a bit. Now, there is one more piece that came out around the start of this year. Kwallet, Secret Service, 007, the stories so far. I've done some integration work between Plasma and 007. 007 is a relatively recent Secret Service provider written in Rust. It's very nice, lightweight, and cross-desktop. Very interesting for us supporting it as a first-class citizen. We want in the end to replace completely the old Kwallet system with something based on Secret Service, have all our applications migrated transparently with user data as well, if possible, with a cross-desktop backend implementation. And that's pretty much what 007 is. We also want it to be as transparent as possible for the end user, not having any complicated first-time setup or dialogues that ask for a manual unlock when not needed. When not needed? Yes, true. This should be something where, by default, it should unlock when you log into your account. For the user, the whole system should be just invisible, except when looking up their passwords or when client applications add passwords to it themselves. As a first thing several months ago, we did a transparent translation layer for Kwallet dbus interface, so now the Kwallet service became just a translation layer between the Kwallet API and the Secret Service one. The old Kwallet D service instead became KSecretD, now providing only the Secret Service interface, and that's what we use by default now. However, it can be configured to use a different provider, so it can already be used with gnome-keyring or KeyPass XC if the user wishes. In that case, the user data will be migrated the first time. So if for whatever reason you want to run Plasma and you want to use gnome-keyring, that's just supported. Why would you do it? I don't know, but it's supported. The last thing that we did so far is integration with a new Secret Service provider on the block, that being 007. If 007 is just another Secret Service provider, won't it just work in Plasma? Not really. And that's actually a good thing. 007 wants to properly integrate with the environment it's run in, so we need to build that integration. When you use Kwallet, KeyPassXC, or gnome-keyring directly, they create their own password dialogues using their own toolkits and styles, therefore potentially looking a bit alien when run in a different environment than the one it was designed for. With 007, it doesn't make that expectation. It expects you to provide an interface to prompt the user to make it look like it's something that is directly part of your environment. Very similar to the way that desktop portals work, for example. This requires active integration both on the Plasma part and the 007 part, but on the other hand, it will look native on Plasma, GNOME, and any other platform that implements the integration hooks. For example, something like Cosmic. And that's with the added benefit of sharing the password storage if someone every now and then goes desktop environment hopping. Again, before having a shared API, you would have to go and rebuild the store every single time, or do what a lot of people did and disable it, and never think about it again. This is already available in Plasma 6.6. The code for it is here if you want to go examine the code for that. It's designed first for 007, but can be used for any daemon which wishes to provide native password dialogues, so we might start to use it also from other components in the future, either other secret service providers or completely different things which have similar needs, like Polkit. As of recording this video, there is still some work going on here. There is a tracking issue for everything, port everything to Qt keychain APIs, which has a list of everything that still needs to be worked on, specifically in Plasma itself. There's going to be a bunch of third-party applications which are in a real weird state that are probably going to keep using Kwallet for a long time, but at least the main things they can worry about. So if you're interested in maybe getting involved in cleaning up this mess, hey, jump on in. Because as others have said in the thread, Kwallet is very buggy. I always turn it off. Passwords still save. What am I missing? They're actually being saved in plain text, but that's what you're missing. Browsers hang waiting for it to load up and do its thing, and then it usually freezes. I've never had a successful Kwallet experience. No wallet system ever worked well for me, either GNOME or KDEs, across 20 years of using Linux under various distros. There's always something that breaks eventually, so I now just default to disabling / not installing the service at all, and have much less issues. This right here is the general sentiment regarding these wallet and keyring services. So if things can be made slowly better over time, hey, ultimately, that's probably a good thing. So let me know your thoughts. Do you think this is a good thing? Did you know this work was even going on? Because I didn't. Basically, no one ever talks about it. I just happened to see it in a Reddit thread. So, yeah. I hope you learned something. If you liked the video, go like the video, go subscribe as well, and if you really like the video and you want to become one of these amazing people over here, check out the Patreon subscribe Stelly Barapay linked in the description down below. That's going to be it for me, and I am in the Secret Service.